Hi everybody, GOGATH here. Well, what about that patch 3, eh? I've got a feeling this is going to be unfinished. I'll get to that later. They decided to try and balance, I'm doing the thing with my fingers now, the earnings across different styles of gameplay, different types of gameplay, whatever you want to call them. Frontier haven't got a great record with this sort of thing. And what they've done this time is apparently they've killed mining. I had a little look earlier, but to be honest with you, not a good enough look to make a scientific announcement. I couldn't write a paper on this. What would be a good idea is to actually get the ship going forwards. Can't fly and drink coffee at the same time. But apparently tritium has run dry, or at least as good as. Same with low temperature diamonds. They're no longer an earner, it would seem. It was diamonds that I was after. Although the game does need balance, it really does. Combat needs to pay more. I was watching a video from Buana who said that maybe combat's its own reward. And yeah, I get that, but it's not really. I think that's a cop-out. You take a lot of risk. Whether it's exciting or not, you should be rewarded for it. Trading apparently has really taken a hit. That's probably unintentional, I would think. What they've done is cut down a multiplier somewhere and it's clobbered everything across the board. Apparently the demand side of trading has become really volatile. The only game I have a lot of familiarity with this was an old game called X3 Reunion, which was basically based on supply and demand. If they had a lot of the stuff, it was cheap. They'd buy it cheap, sell it cheap, and if they didn't have much and they needed it, then they would buy it expensive and sell it expensive. That's fine. But we have another problem here, you see. There's a load of people taking their carriers out into deep space. And if they can't mine the tritium... Oh, sorry, I'll read that again. If they can't mine the tritium... I've forgotten how to say tritium. There's going to be a problem there. I mean, that means they're stranded, doesn't it? Or maybe it might take them a year to mine enough tritium to do a jump, or something. That's ridiculous. This is why I think there will be a fix. It won't be allowed to be this bad. And this is also why I think it's probably accidental. How long it will take to fix this, it could come out in the next couple of days. I mean, at the end of the day, they've just sold everybody fleet carriers. Not me included, and there's a few of us who didn't want them, but not me. I thought I haven't really got a use for it, basically. But they've sold these people these ships, and they're happy with them. They want to take them out, they want to do stuff with them, but ow, now they can't. Apparently it's really difficult to buy the tritium. I was talking to Commander Bravestone yesterday, and he did finally find some, but he looked for hours. I think it was either the last or the second from last base he was going to that finally came up with it. So I wouldn't panic too much. I'm not going to sell my mining ship just yet, and to be absolutely honest with you, I'm not in love with mining anyway. But it does make money, you can't deny that. So as things stand, I'll hang on to it for the moment. because I think it could get better. Whether it'll actually end up paying more than passenger missions per hour, say in Robigo, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to settle. You know, the chips are being thrown up in the air, and who knows how they're going to land. I would have thought it would have been nice, actually, to have given other things a bit of a lift. But as I say, I think this could well be an accident. I don't think this nerfing was intended to be this hard. It doesn't make sense, does it? The FDev, whatever we think of these guys, it doesn't make sense that they go, right, okay, you bought your carriers, now you're screwed. No, I don't think that is the plan. I really don't.
Frameshift drive charging.
And I keep saying it, and I'm going to keep saying it. No, I mean, this is the thing, you see. I don't know whether this is an overreaction or whether there's been... I'm also wondering, because the community can affect this, I'm also wondering whether half of this effect has been caused by the community. You know, like when you get someone saying, hey, there's a shortage of bread or toilet rolls, it's a bit more up to date, in the shops. So everyone goes out and buys toilet rolls and creates a shortage. This might be, as far as the trading stuff is concerned, what's happened here with the tritium. Because obviously we're all playing in the same background simulation. Whether you're solo, whether you're in a private group, or open play. So it is quite possible there was a 50% nerf, and which has been turned into 100% nerf by panic buying. That's not actually impossible. I don't know if that's what's happened, and I'm not putting it forward as an answer. I'm just saying it's a possibility. If that is the case, obviously we need a little bit more resilience in the supply, because there's a lot of people with carriers and they need a lot of the fuel if they're going to go anywhere in these things, and especially if you can't mine it. Although I think, as I was saying, I think really and truly mining is going to pick up a bit. I don't think this was an intentional kill. A bit like one of those times when you're in a res and you shoot at the wrong ship and you end up with a bounty. That's my thoughts on the matter anyway. As I say, as I've got no inside information on this, I have no idea. I'm just going by what would seem to be logical, and I know the devs don't always do what would seem to be logical. But they put a lot of work into making carriers workable, or at least, well, not for me, but for a lot of people, they are workable and they like them and they want to keep them, and they have every right to do that. And then to suddenly bring it all down and pull it all to pieces, I mean, that will probably affect more people than the Gnosis did. And I really don't see that being intentional. However, I could be wrong. So I'm just running loads now, basically. You know, back to the old ways. Tried and trusted. It doesn't make much money, but it gets you ahead, gets you out, you get to see places. And sometimes you get told off for coming in too fast. Where are we going?
Speed restrictions are in effect at this facility. Please comply.
That's if they notice.
Landing gear deployed.
I've got a feeling I'll be making another video soon talking about a hot fix that's been put out to kind of reset things a little bit. As you can see, I've had the tap removed. GOGATH out.